I do not miss behavior problems 24/7, emails, deadlines, all while I'm trying to teach. What's up, y'all? It's your favorite math teacher, PJ Eugene, and today on the docket, we are talking about, do I regret leaving the teaching profession? Now, 4 months ago, I made a video on why I left the teaching profession after 5 whole years. 5 whole years. So make sure before you go into this video, go watch that video and come back. I will be here, I promise you. But before we get into some things, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, leave a nice little comment, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel because we are doing great things over here. We are living, we are learning, we are healing, and just maybe all at the same goddamn time, okay? So let's just get right into it. So again, as I mentioned, 4 months ago, I did choose to leave the teaching profession after 5 whole years. I began in February 2017, and I had to put it into it for a number of things. It ranged from anxiety, it ranged from the high gas prices, and I was commuting 40 minutes there and back. So the drive there was not pleasant. I do remember the day that I decided to actually resign. I did wake up at like 4 a.m. in the morning, having like a really bad anxiety attack. So I knew then it had to happen, and it had to happen soon. So it wasn't like I didn't miss my babies, even though the issues with my students did become a factor in why I left. So I'm gonna get into that later as well. If you know me personally, and if you just know my character from my previous videos, you know that I'm a pretty planned out person. This was the first time in my life I had ever left a job with no job lined up. And it was the most scariest thing because I had a plan in my mind because I'm like, well, if I'm just going to up and leave, I have to be able to make some money. So I was planning on doing like DoorDash full time and doing like Uber, part time. It was a whole plan that didn't really even work out and didn't even have to work out for a whole different reason, which I'll get into later. But primarily it was because I was just taken care of. I was really working on myself with my side hustle, with my photography, with my YouTube page, and X, Y, and Z. So we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about what it has been like since I left teaching. So my goal after I left teaching, my number one goal professionally was just to land a remote job. I didn't know really how remote jobs looked or operated because I only had done one, and that's when we had went virtual for teaching. Other than that, I didn't know much of what you could even look to do as far as a remote job. But come to find out, there are so many remote jobs, and I'm thinking in my head, well, me being a teacher for 5 years, I have so many transferable skills that can really go into any role. So I just felt like I could just get a job easily. Man, what a lie that was. Um, I don't know how true this is. So let me know in the comments if I'm like totally just rambling, but let me know if this is true or not. I heard that a lot of employers are hiring, but not actually hiring because I heard that a lot of employers took the PPP loan, and a part of the loan agreement is that you have to actively be looking for employers or employees. So they do that or put jobs out there. It's kind of like how you file for unemployment. You have to be looking for a job to receive unemployment benefits. So I imagine it's the same thing with the PPP loan. Let me know if I'm just making that up or if I just heard it wrong. But yeah, I heard that they have to actually like put job postings out there. But that didn't mean that they were hiring. I didn't know that, child. So I had decided maybe 4 months before I resigned from my job, I was going to start interviewing and looking for a new job. And I was never getting. I would do like 2, 3 interviews with a position and knew that I had it and would not get selected. And it had really put a damper on like my ego a little bit. I ain't even gonna hold you up because I have always been the kind of person ever since I was 18, fresh out of high school, I could always get a job. Always. Even if it wasn't a job that would pay me as much as I was making when I was teaching, I was like, a job is a job, and a remote one at that. If you're cutting out gas prices, completely, and you're only driving when you have to the store, to your grandparents' house, to your mom's house, to whatever you do, that's a huge cut out of your budget. So I was even accepting that I would be able to do a remote job making less than what I was doing, for teaching and still be afloat because I'm not paying, what, 45, maybe $100 a week for gas, because like I said, my commute was 40 minutes there and 40 minutes back. Not to mention you're wearing and tearing on your car, so that was a whole different factor. But yeah, I could not find a job, bro. It was so hard to find a job. And mind you, I got my first like job interest in like June, like middle of June. And I just started my new job like recently. And I'll get into that in a minute and what that became to be, because it's so crazy. It's a full circle moment. So basically, I had got put into a position where I'm just like, I have all these transferable skills, but what can I apply it to? Because nowadays, I was doing so much research on job interviewing and trying to get a job. Nowadays, employers want you to have the exact skills and the exact experience listed, or they will not consider you. So I'm just like, back in 2016 when I was like kind of entering into the job field for real, you could get away with not having this experience on your resume and you would still get hired. Baby, I don't know what the pandemic did, child, but they like, Noah, if you ain't got 2 degrees, 4 years of experience in this field, and 2 years of this, they won't consider you. And child, even if you do, like, it was some jobs that I was like, I have this skill, and I even like would take like skills they would put in the job posting and put it in my resume to make it stand out more, and still would not get a job. So I don't know, maybe it could have been me, but when I tell you looking for a job has been hell, and thank God I found a job now. But I found a job in my old field, right? So before I got into teaching, I was a tech advisor for a third party company that was cliented through Apple. Won't say. But it was a cool job. I was really good at it. I just didn't like the dealing with customers part. But now that everything has changed, where I desire a remote job and I prefer to be at home, I don't mind dealing with that as long as I'm at home, right? So I kind of got a job and didn't even know it until like I kind of got, fully in the same field, doing the same really goddamn thing, but just at a higher pay rate than what I was being paid years ago. And I do plan on sticking with this company for a little while because I like how they are, moving with me, and they're very, very comfortable to work for. And I really, really wanted that for my next job, a really, really nice, healthy work environment where I can, express how I feel to whomever it be. And we talk about these conversations. So, and yeah, so I like it here. I'll give you guys an update on how that goes later on. All right. So, what I do miss about teaching, though, I do miss my kids. That's the only thing that I miss. That and teaching them. I thoroughly enjoy teaching my kids math, especially the ones who didn't get it at first, and then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden because they had to put work in, but all of a sudden it felt like one day they just got it, and I knew that it was because they were just doing their homework and doing what I told them that they should do at home, and the work paid off. I miss that. I truly, truly do, and it kind of partially put me in the position to where I got the job I have today, because even though that I'm still doing tech support and still doing over the phone troubleshooting, I've been talking with my supervisor about possibly a training position, and that's possibly on the floor because she knows that I have a history with teaching. So she's like really keeping an eye out for that position, which is coming up in a few months. So I like to teach. I like that. Now, I haven't found out if it's just specifically math because I'm really, really good at it, or do I just like to teach in general? I'll find that out, when I get this trainer position. So, fingers crossed. But yeah, I miss my kids, and one thing that I did, because like I feel like I'm a new generation teacher, if you want to call me that. Before I left, I gave my kids my social media. While I was there, I would not never. It just I wanted to keep that teacher student relationship, and I didn't want them to be too comfortable with me where they couldn't learn from me. But now I'm not your teacher anymore, and I really did, I do love my kids. So I gave them my social media and they keep up with me. They even email me. I get a lot of emails from them. A lot of them comment on my posts like, "Hey, Mr. Walls, I miss you." They send me private DMs. It's cool. I don't mind all that. I'll respond every now and again because I don't want them to feel like I'm going to respond every single time because I'm still an adult and they're still a kid. So, I give them enough access where they know that I'm there, if that makes sense. But yeah, I miss hearing their wacky stories when they come in the room, even though I'll be annoyed. I miss having fun math lessons with my kids and those aha moments. I'll give you an example. So like one kid you not, when I was teaching third grade, he could not like divide. And that's not surprising because we struggled with multiplication, which in my opinion is way harder than division. So for him to be struggling with division, it wasn't so surprising. I was like, let's just master multiplication first. So we worked from there. And literally over like maybe 2, 3 months time, he was just so adamant on becoming good at his division. So I don't know how he did it. I really, really don't. I just know he came to my what did I call them? My workshop sessions, always ready to learn. And he always took his homework home, came back with it completed. And then one day, he was just doing division like it was like on the back of his mind. It was crazy. I like legit cried that day because that day I realized, you know, how impactful my presence was to these kids and how important it was for someone in general to just care about these kids. Because what if I didn't care? What if I didn't care that he was behind or just didn't know basic things and I just turned my back on him? Because no shade, no shade, you know, low key, teachers are taught to have what's called priority kids, which are kids that are like at the bubble or the precipice of being on grade level, which I agree. If you're almost there and I can push you just one up notch, all for it. But them being a priority to me sets the other kids back where I'm not attending to them as much. What I used to do was I would take my high performing kids and I would even make it a thing like, so and so's performing at this grade level. We would have conversations and it not be shade. So we all knew where everyone kind of was, and we all knew who, or they all knew who to look up to if they had a question if I wasn't there. I would have my high performing kids work with my priority kids because it was just like a bridge that was an easily gappable bridge. And then what I would do is take my lower performing kids and we would go in the back of the room and go to my round table and just work together on basic skills such as revisiting, adding, and subtracting because that was the whole thing. And then we will work our way into like multiplication and division. Either way, I wanted everyone to be attentive to, and I know parapros aren't cheap. It's probably not even in the budget. But God, the miracles I could have worked with the parapro, with a teacher's aide in my room when I was a teacher. God, I would have been moving mountains, bro. But yeah, um, that's what I miss. I miss my kids. I miss the teaching aspect of it. Now, what I do not miss, woo child. Now I loved my kids, right? But we had a lot of behavior issues. I ain't even gonna hold you. I ain't even gonna cap you. We had a lot of behavior issues. A lot. A lot of it was drama. And a lot of it was I can tell someone has been watching someone in the home do this. So I mean, it could range. Like I've been in situations where I've had to break up fights. I've been in situations where I've had to drag someone out of a cafeteria, a huge eighth grader, and I'm using all my strength to get them out this situation because they are literally fighting this person and me. I've been in situations where two students are calling each other names, and I'm like, stop, 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 don't, blah, blah, blah. It's gotten there. And unfortunately, it was almost a daily thing. Like sometimes starting immediately when I see them. Drama happened in the breakfast room. It's just always something. And the downfall of this was I didn't have immediate access to someone who could help me with these behavior issues. It was more so like it was one person in the whole entire school who was on top of behavior. Yeah, I could call a different teacher for support, but why would I interrupt that teacher while they're in their groove? So I learned to deal with behavior issues as much as I can by myself, even though I felt like I could be using this time to teach, and not do a lot of behavior interventions, but I guess it just comes with the job. Um, I don't miss parents attacking me for no reason at all. With me being a gay black male, I was constantly, especially in my first year teaching middle school, I was attacked constantly. I was lied on constantly. The students would go who didn't like me would go back to their parents and make up lies, and the parents, because they didn't like me and my sexuality, they would go forth with it and go make meetings, and I'm sitting there with the biggest attitude, knowing damn well it's not true. So I wouldn't even like. You know what? I ain't gonna hold you up. My first year teaching, it taught me how to control my attitude because I would just sit there in these meetings like I cannot believe what I'm hearing and why I'm even here. So yeah, I don't miss parents attacking me. It was some parents who felt because I was young, they could speak to me a kind of way, or they could deal with me a kind of way, or when they didn't get what they wanted, they would, go off the handle. And it's just, I was a no nonsense, no disrespect, tolerating ass teacher. Like, you won't disrespect me, and I've been with your kids 8 hours every single day of this week, teaching them something new while they are literally goofing off all day. You won't disrespect me. I won't allow you to do that. So a lot of that happened. And I don't miss it. Not the hell at all. And I do not miss micromanaging. Now, it didn't happen often, but it became moments where it just felt like every moment was being observed. Every moment was used for a meeting. Every moment was used to review data. And it was like even times where instructional coaches would pop in on my lunch and start talking. I don't want to talk. I want to enjoy my lunch and this time, these precious 20 minutes. Because even though we have 30 minutes, it takes 5 minutes to get them lined up and 5 minutes to get them in the lunchroom. So it was even times where me and my teaching partners would like assign someone in the group. I'll take your kids while you go get the lunch, we order out that day. That way we can utilize all of our time. So yeah, I don't want to spend my time talking to you about data and curriculum. No, not at all. Okay. I don't miss creating lesson plans. At my old school, we had to like make full blown books of lesson plans, bro. And I was so happy at my new school when they were like, yeah, scrap that. We just want to see the content. Like, just show me that you're doing the work of the scholar and show us that you know how to do it and know how to teach it. Whatever that looks like for you. And that would be it. It was like one paper a day where I wrote down like the objective. I wrote down, me doing the work, how I want it to look when they do it, maybe some transferable skills, maybe like a question that I want to ask them to show me that they understand and they have mastery over the content for the day. And it was just that. But like when I first started doing lesson plans, we had to have a state standard. We had to have an objective, which I don't mind doing. We had to have metacognition points. We had to have grade level content for this class. For this class, if you teach multiple classes, so it was like books per week per subject. Whoops. And then we had a section for accommodations, modifications. And they wanted a book. It was just a lot. It was like a lot of copy and paste that I felt like wasn't benefiting me or the kids because I'm using so much time to make these documents that y'all, one, don't even review, and two, don't even give me acknowledgement that you even saw the damn document or read it. I feel like if I have to make these books of lessons, you should read them. Or are you just submitting them to the state board or whatever to show that our teachers are, no, I don't want to do useless documenting if it's not going to be effective. That was just me. I don't miss having anxiety attacks. I used to have really bad anxiety attacks about to get ready to go to work because it just was a lot. Even though I loved my kids and loved my babies, it was a lot that I had to deal with mentally, emotionally, and even physically sometimes every single day. Like even just thinking about it now, I'm just like kind of getting like ooh. Like as I mentioned, from the behaviors, from the deadlines that were just given to you at women felt like from the last minute changes and it had to be implemented like immediately to the narcissistic bosses. I had a few and the list goes on and on and on. The parents, um again, it just goes on. I don't miss that. And I used to have anxiety. I would have anxiety on the way to work crying about to walk into a war, it felt like. Um, and this is kind of like not common. It's more personable for me. But because I do social media and because I'm a personality on social media, that was an issue when I was working at my previous school. Now, mind you, I ain't out here doing OnlyFans. I'm not out here showing my ass. I'm not out here cussing people out, whatever. But I do write songs and make music videos. And I speak how I feel on social media, especially my YouTube page. And I always make sure to be morally correct, not because I'm on camera, but because it's just who I am. But I have to be extra aware of things because I am on social media because I was a teacher. But it was a whole issue when like my leadership team was asking me to make my YouTube private. I said, why would I do that? The whole point is for me to be public and gain subscribers. So that was the whole thing. And I told them no. And if it's an issue, like show me the video that is just so offensive. And here's my personal opinion. Even though I made music that had curse words in it, or, first off, it wasn't for the kids. I wasn't promoting that to my kids. I wasn't saying, hey, go look at my YouTube page and see me shaking my ass or twerking, whatever. It was never giving that. Um, my personal opinion was, this is just me and I could be dead ass wrong, but it's because I've experienced it so much. It's because I'm a black gay male and because I make black gay content as well as other things that was just so offensive. Like I said, I was in random meetings with parents accusing me of things that never happened and they never had proof of. But because I'm young, black, and gay, I was just there because it would make the parents feel better and make them shut up. No, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not going to sit up and make these accommodations just to, digress the fire. No, let's have that conversation. Let's make the fire bigger and let's talk about it. Since y'all want to have me in this goddamn office every 2 weeks talking to these goddamn parents about shit that I've never done when I could be teaching. And last but not least, I do not miss random evaluations. Oh, I don't miss random evaluations. I don't miss leadership team walking to my room last minute. I don't. Because I feel like this. If you have been in the classroom, you know that every day is different. And you know that there are days where the teacher may not be themselves 100%. Okay? I'm a advocate for self-care, take care of yourself, but there are just some days where a teacher just can't perform at their highest. And we are performers. We are performers. As well as we are teachers, we are relaying the information, but it's all about how we get that information to these kids. I can talk to 10 adults for 10 minutes in a lecture style way. But if I took that same approach with sixth graders or fourth graders, it just wouldn't fly. So we have to be a little performative to get the information across. So there are days where I wasn't as performative or my energy was low because of whatever. And they here come they ass walking, Wally tailing their ass in with their clipboards and their pens and their heels. I can just hear it clacketing down the hall and their keys and their walkies, and it just gave me anxiety. I'm just like, oh my gosh, why are y'all here? If you would have told me that you were coming, I could have just made sure things were just a little bit more tidy. And don't act like y'all don't do that because first off, I had my principal come to me a couple of times like, listen, We got some district officials coming in. So just make sure, I know that you're a great teacher, but just make sure T's are crossed and I's are dotted. You know what I mean. So we all know what that means. We know every day isn't going to be, as I say, a Marvel movie. Some days we're going to go DC. Yeah. Some days we're going to go DC. Every day can't be the MCU. No, that's just not even life. So, I mean, I don't miss that at all. And I understand this, that with any profession comes issues. And with any profession comes things that are just not pleasant. But I would rather be at home, in the comfort of my home, without people in my face and dealing with personalities and all day long, along with dealing with my kids' personalities and behavior issues all day while trying to teach. I don't miss it. I miss my kids, love them to death, but I am in a lot healthier mental space, even though financially I'm not as where I used to be, with the teaching gig. And I understand, even teachers don't get paid as much. But like I said, people nowadays are taking pay cuts just to be comfortable. And that's where I'm at. I always pray and release into the atmosphere that better is coming, a great remote job is coming. Not saying that my remote job right now isn't great. I love it, but there's room for growth, and there's always room for growth. And I'm just going to keep speaking that, it's coming. I'm just preparing myself now, and I'm going to continue being the person that I am and the employee that I am. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and it was very informative for you. I know I haven't did a lot of teacher content lately, but I want to put something out there for my subscribers. If you are if you have quit teaching, or if you are thinking about quitting teaching, what will you not miss the most? Leave it in the comments so we can talk about it, okay? Again, welcome back to my channel. I am PJ Eugene. We are here to learn, grow, heal, and maybe all at the same goddamn time. Until the next video, mwah.